press room was buzzing with energy after the latest briefing. Reporters scurried around, filing their stories, when suddenly, a sharp voice cut through the chatter. "Miss Leavitt, do you really believe your generation is ready to lead?" The question hung in the air, thick with condescension. Karoline Leavitt, poised as always, looked straight at the reporter who dared to question her age and ability. "Isn't it time to pass the torch to someone with more experience?" The reporter pressed, his voice dripping with judgment. The crowd was silent now, waiting for her response. What would she say? Would she falter? Would she bow to the pressure? But Karoline didn't blink. She stood tall, her eyes focused, as if she'd heard this question 1,000 times before. The tension was palpable. The weight of the moment hung over the room. Everyone knew the stakes were higher than just a simple exchange of words. This was about more than just politics. It was about generational divide, respect, and who had the power to change the game. The cameras zoomed in on her, the silence growing even more uncomfortable as the reporter waited for her reply. And then, out of nowhere, a familiar voice echoed through the room. It was Donald Trump. "Let me stop you right there," he said, his tone sharp and direct. The entire room held its breath. What was coming next? Karoline Leavitt was no stranger to the spotlight. At just 27, she had already made waves in political circles, earning respect from those who recognized her boldness and determination. A staunch Trump supporter, she wasn't afraid to stand firm in her beliefs, even when faced with the most intense scrutiny. This press briefing was just another day for Karoline, until the reporter's question changed everything. The reporter, a well-known liberal journalist, was looking to discredit her. His tone suggested that her age was a barrier to her qualifications, implying that only those with decades of experience should be in positions of power. He was confident in his attack, certain that his audience would support his view. But Karoline wasn't just another political figure to be dismissed. She had earned her seat at the table, and she wasn't about to let anyone undermine her. The tension between the reporter's dismissive tone and Karoline's calm confidence was palpable. The room was divided, some reporters eager to see how the young political figure would respond, while others couldn't wait to see if she would back down. This wasn't just about her. It was a clash of generations, a battle over who was best suited to lead America forward. But then, as the reporter pressed on, a shift in the room occurred. The cameras turned, the whispers stopped, and Donald Trump made his presence known. His response would set the stage for what was about to unfold. The reporter's words seemed to hang in the air, waiting for Karoline to crack, to flinch. But she didn't. She stood there, a picture of calm confidence. The silence in the room was deafening. Karoline's eyes never left the reporter as she processed his question. The tension seemed to build with each passing second, like a pressure cooker ready to explode. But before Karoline could speak, Trump's voice boomed across the room, cutting through the silence like a knife. "Let me stop you right there," he said, his tone unwavering, his words carrying weight. The reporter froze. The entire room turned toward the podium, their eyes widening in anticipation. Trump's presence was commanding. He didn't just speak to respond, he spoke to dominate. "We're questioning people because they're young now?" he continued, his voice filled with disbelief. The reporter stammered, clearly thrown off guard. Trump wasn't done. "Don't pretend this is about experience," Trump said, pointing a finger at the reporter. "It's about control. You want someone you can predict, someone you can control. But Karoline? She's not like that. She's here to shake things up." The room was silent. No one dared to speak as Trump's words settled over them. Trump's gaze didn't leave the reporter as he continued. "You think age is a problem? Look at history. Some of the greatest leaders were young when they started. Alexander the Great, he was 20. Teddy Roosevelt, he was young too. So don't come in here with your tired arguments about experience." The reporter shifted uncomfortably, trying to regain control of the situation. But Trump wasn't done yet. He was on a roll now. You never question the so-called experienced politicians. You don't ask them about their failures. But the moment someone like Karoline comes along, someone who's actually getting things done, you attack her for being young. The room was now fully engaged. The reporters who had been silent moments before now nodding along to Trump's words. The tension had shifted from Karoline to the reporter. The energy was different now. It was a slow build, a sense of realization that the room was watching something bigger unfold. Karoline didn't need to say much. Trump had already dismantled the reporter's question with precision and power. But when the room fell quiet again, all eyes turned back to her. It was her moment to respond, to seal the narrative and take control of the situation once and for all. She stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "Experience isn't just about age," she said, her words echoing through the room. "It's about what you bring to the table. I may be young, but I'm not just a product of my generation. I'm a product of action, results, and a commitment to real change." Her words were deliberate, each one landing with the force of someone who wasn't just answering a question but challenging the premise itself. She paused, allowing her words to sink in. "I've been fighting for the American people every single day. I've stood up to the establishment. I've pushed back against the status quo. And I'm not done yet." The reporter, still reeling from Trump's remarks, tried to interrupt. But Karoline held up a hand, silencing him effortlessly. "The real question here is not whether I'm experienced enough. It's whether you're ready for the change that's coming. Because it's coming with or without you." The room erupted in applause. The reporter's face flushed with embarrassment, his smugness fading in the face of Karoline's unwavering confidence. Karoline had just turned the tables. What had started as an attack on her age and experience had now become a moment of triumph, a demonstration of her strength and resolve. The room was electric. The reporters who had once doubted her now looked at her with newfound respect. Trump, standing off to the side, gave a subtle nod of approval. Karoline had held her ground, and in doing so, she had proved that age was just a number, not a barrier to leadership. The reporter, clearly stunned by the exchange, didn't know how to respond. He had come in expecting to rattle her, to break her down with his question. But instead, Karoline had risen above, and Trump's support had only amplified her power. He had underestimated her, and now he was the one left speechless. As the room slowly returned to normal, Karoline turned to Trump, her face calm but with a glint of appreciation in her eyes. "Thank you," she said quietly, her voice soft but sincere. Trump's reply was simple, yet packed with meaning. "You don't need me to fight your battles, Karoline," he said, his tone full of respect. "You're doing just fine on your own." And with that, Karoline Leavitt had solidified her place, not just in the political arena, but in the hearts and minds of those who witnessed her stand up for herself and for what she believed in. This wasn't just about a young woman facing down a reporter. It was about the future of America, and who would be at the forefront of change. The moral was clear. Leadership isn't about age or experience. It's about the courage to stand up for what's right and the determination to push through even when the odds are stacked against you.